Let me ask you, what are some things that proponents of the Shroud are saying that you wish they would stop saying? Like I could imagine, whenever very enthusiastic religious people get together, they start drawing things out that aren't there at all, and they might make these scientific studies look...
Yes, no, we get that a lot. And in fact...
was Trump 2024 somehow in the fibers?
That, however, was there.
Yes.
I see. Okay, so I'm glad we cleared that up. No, but...
Q's signature was in there. It said, trust the plan.
Yeah. No, in fact, there's some really funny pictures. Have you ever heard of pareidolia? This is when you look to a cloud or like a grilled cheese sandwich or like a root with like gnarly roots on a tree, people see faces,
sure.
Mickey Mouse is in the clouds or words.
Elvis in that potato chip.
Yes.
Well, that was real.
But, that was real. But but do the test now on religious people. Tell people, like, crumple up a sheet of paper, give it to religious people, and then tell them, this is an ancient papyrus. What do you see? And it's exponential how much more they see in that instance. Yeah. And so people have seen sailing ships, they have seen flowers, they have seen rope, they have seen words like lamb and other names for Jesus. And I'm very skeptical of these things, knowing that pareidolia is out there. And so one of the things to question, it may or may not be the case, coins. Some have suggested that there are coins over the eyes. And there's a certain priest by the name of Philas, F-I-L-A-S, who proposed this. But if you zoom in, you could actually see letters which look like, if I remember, U-C-A-I. This is supposed to correspond to what would be U-K or Kappa A-I, because on the lepton, there's a coin that was minted in 29 AD that has like a scepter or ladle on it, and it has the inscription of Pontius Pilate, or excuse me, Tiberius Caesar. It's the name, so it's the end of Tiberiu, Caesarus or something like that, that is seen on this small little coin. And there was a problem with the theory, is that it was misspelled. So it was a C instead of a K, or vice versa. Yeah, C instead of a K. And yet there it was, the misspelling. But then after the fact, they found the coin with the so-called misspelling, further corroborating the theory that this coin was indeed over the eyes. I don't say this because I think it definitive. I do think it's interesting and it's worth further study. But if it's the case that we have a coin that is indeed minted in the year 29, that is a nice peg to put it in the 1st century. But because the weave is, you're going to have interference on the image, because, the weave, when you're going on the loom over and under these threads, it's not a perfectly flat piece of paper that we're projecting upon. And so is it possible to really see the edge of a letter, like the letter U on or might we be seeing what we want to see? Knowing that pareidolia is a phenomenon, we have to be very careful. What we don't want to do is do such sloppy science that the debunkers can easily say, look, if that's the kind of science you're doing, let's throw the whole thing out. And they throw the baby out with the bathwater. So what I want to do is, and this is what I think the Othonia exhibit does well, and I think the postgraduate certificate was careful to do from the start, is like, we need to do a kind of curating of the data that's out there. Let the physicists speak about physics. Let the chemists speak about chemistry. Let the image experts, talk about that area, the historians, et cetera, so that we can bring together all of this data and make it available to a broad audience that gets scrutinized, so that we can know, like, with what degree of certainty these things are. You know what a good resource is that you can find also at Amazon? John Jackson he's the physicist from the Shroud of Turin Research Project, and he for like 20 something bucks, you can get a summary of like the main conclusions and the source material that is referenced, so that in like 100 pages, you can get a lot of the data on the Shroud.
I was going to ask you that. What's the single best book you would recommend a layman read?
That's a good one. That's a good one for learning about STIRP. The thing is, the Shroud is a universe. Like, depends what type of science you want to know about. Because if you want to know about...
It's like coming at Mount Everest. Like, how do I approach this
thing?
Exactly,
which is why we wanted to create the diploma, so that we could give you a panoramic view to the one who's being introduced, but in such a way that is pedagogical, and that it doesn't fixate on the minutia, major on the minors without even getting, because it's so, to my mind, a good example of this is the carbon dating. How many of these documentaries spend long hours talking about something that in the end tells us nothing about the actual shroud and leaves out all this other stuff. So if you're talking about forensic medicine, I think you've got to know Pierre Barbet, I mentioned, a doctor at Calvary. It's been translated into every language. Zugaby is a modern forensic doctor that kind of follows up, but some have called it like footnotes on Barbet. But then there's the whole area of like what the popes have said, how tradition has received it, how historians, right? So, it's a good podcast by my friend Dr. Cheryl White and Father Peter Mangum from Shreveport, Louisiana. They do a great job. They have a beautiful exhibit, one of the biggest in the United States, by the way. But they have a podcast with if you want to go deeper into some of this stuff, it's a nice introduction anyway into the Shroud.
Hey, I want to say thank you to the greatest prayer and meditation app in the history of prayer and meditation apps. You know what I'm talking about. Hallow, as in Hallow. Check this out. They've got sleep stories. You can learn how to pray the rosary. They have audio books. They have My Lo-Fi, incidentally, but check this out. You can even let Dr. Scott Hahn put you to sleep at night. Not because he'll come over to your house and strangle you. That'd be weird. Although for the right price. Check this out.
Good evening.
Oh, come on.
And welcome to tonight's Bible story.
Do you hear the rain in the background?
My name is Dr. Scott Hahn.
You will not be able to listen to the first 3 minutes or past the first 3 minutes because you will fall asleep. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. The reason you should go over there and sign up as opposed to downloading it on Apple is twofold. Number one, you get 3 months for free and you get access to the entire app. So if after 3 months you don't like it, you can just cancel. The second reason is you don't give any of your money to Apple. And, why give more money to them when you can give it to Hallow? Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. Also, go. Hallow.com/Matt. Go check them out so they know that I sent you.